Hey guys, welcome back to Rumor and Theory. Today we're going to break down WandaVision episode 4, get deep into those details that everyone missed, and I mean everyone, and find out those MCU secrets that are hidden between the lines. Let's get this going. Alright, so this episode obviously takes place during the past 3 episodes, and we get to see what's going on outside of Westview and what's going on with Sword and everyone else who's investigating this phenomenon. So we don't get a lot of new scenes inside Westview, but we do learn a lot of cool information. So first, I just want to start off with saying the special effects for the blip in the beginning with that close-up of Teyonah Parris and then her going down the hallway with everyone else blipping back into reality was just amazing. It was the best representation of the blip that I've seen so far in the MCU. So I just wanted to give props to those people who worked on that, because it truly was amazing. So there are a few key points to take away from these early scenes with Monica, and that is, one, that Sword has been around for a very long time, just not mentioned in the MCU until Spider-Man Far From Home, so we'll see how they explain that. And then 2 is that Monica is a veteran of space missions for Sword, and 3 is that Monica does not have her powers yet. So, I don't know, maybe she starts to form them from the interaction with Wanda at the end of episode 3, or we find out further down the line in the series how she gets them. But in the comics, she is Photon, which is a Captain Marvel-like superhero, so obviously she doesn't have those powers now, so we'll see what happens with her character and her superhero identity or alias powers, what have you. So there's a bunch of stuff about Monica, like I said, and those are the key points from that. And then later in the episode, where we start getting into the more nitty-gritty of what's going on inside Westview, and when Jimmy Woo and Darcy are really investigating it, we get a scene with Jimmy Woo and Darcy says that there are longer wavelengths superimposed over the noise. Darcy says this while watching an episode of Wanda's sitcom, and these longer wavelengths are the sitcom being broadcast, which is interesting to me because it makes me think that that noise that these longer wavelengths are being superimposed over could be the reality warping powers of, say, Mephisto, and the longer wavelengths could be maybe Wanda's subconscious reaching out and trying to send a message to whoever will hear her and help her in her situation. And I know that that could be confusing because of what happens later in the episode, but I will touch on why I think Wanda's reaction to Teyonah Parris could actually back up what I just claimed, but I won't touch on that until a little bit later because it involves Mephisto. I'll be breaking his powers down a little bit further down the line in this video, which will reach back into that thought. So in this episode, we also learned that the Beekeeper was just a Sword agent, nothing crazy about him. The only thing I do have a question about is where he went when Wanda rewound the end of that episode. Because does he rewind to where he entered into the reality? Does he rewind out of reality? Does her powers affect people in and out because the person has already been in the reality? So he does get rewound to where he started, which is in the normal world? Or is he in Westview as a beekeeper working somewhere? I really don't know where he went, and I'm curious about it. I'm not sure if it's a huge plot point, but it's just a question that I have. And then later in the episode, we get Darcy saying that someone is censoring the broadcast, meaning we're not getting the whole picture of what's going on inside Westview, just what someone wants us to see or wants Sword to see. So again, that leads to multiple parties being at work, because maybe Mephisto can't control Scarlet Witch's powers of broadcasting these longer wavelengths or sitcom broadcasts to the real world because her powers are so strong. So the only thing he can do is edit what's being transmitted. So that's a theory, but it could also be that when Wanda uses her powers or is snapped out of this Westview reality for a few moments, the broadcast or her subconscious broadcasting that out is cut. It could be that it just breaks the broadcast. So we'll have to see, but it's interesting that someone is censoring it, and it could be Wanda, but I don't know why she would censor her using her powers. People see Wanda, they know it's Scarlet Witch, they don't need to see her using her powers to know that it's her. So it makes me believe that someone else like Mephisto or Nightmare, but probably Mephisto because he has more reality warping abilities, is censoring the broadcast. So this is my biggest find from this episode, and what I think everyone has missed, and I mean everyone. I haven't seen it anywhere. And that is when they are finding the actual people who are playing the roles inside Westview and inside Wanda's sitcom, we find out who plays Phil Jones. So we get his true identity as Harold Proctor, but under Harold Proctor, where it says aliases, and this is the only shot we get of Sword's information of these people, not just the paper posted on the wall. And under Sword's information for Harold Proctor, his alias says Kit Amet. Now, when they put his paper on the wall, his alias says Phil Jones, his WandaVision character, just like everyone else on the wall. So in this blink and you'll miss it shot of that iPad or whatever it is with the Sword information of Harold Proctor, and it says the alias of Kit Amet, that automatically made me go on Google and search who that was in Marvel or what it could be referencing. And I found out that it's no one in Marvel, but it does reference lorem ipsum, which is a Latin text, and there are a few lines within it that I think are pretty vital to the story of WandaVision and kind of explain what's going on. So the first one is, there is no one who loves pain itself, who seeks after it and wants to have it simply because it's pain. And I believe this references Mephisto placing painful events in front of Scarlet Witch to make her fearful of leaving this Westview reality so Nightmare could feed on his fear. And like I said, they could be working together. And like I said in my last video, they could be working together in a sort of Lords of Fear type group where Mephisto could be in the real world and our realm, and Nightmare is in the Nightmare realm or dream world. And that is, he or she rejects pleasures to secure other great pleasures. Or else he or she endures toil and pain because they know it can procure great pleasure. So that line could be hinting at Wanda looking for a way out, like looking for a place like Westview to be with Vision, and knows that maybe what she's doing right now and maybe aiding Mephisto and Nightmare willingly will lead to a greater pleasure through this current pain. So we will see, but I really like the reference in that subtle, quick shot of that alias saying Kit Amet. But that idea is kind of off-put by her telling Vision that this is their home now, and she kind of realizes what's taking place. So there's obviously some kind of misconnection, some kind of split personality, some kind of loss of control that she has, whether it's with what she knows is real, what she knows isn't real. But she's obviously confused, and but she also knows that she's accepting where they are, and that this is the only place Vision and her could have a life together. So it's just opening up so many doors in everyone's minds, and I just can't wait to see where they go with it, because it's just so back and forth with, is she in control, is she out of control, is someone controlling her? And it's not only theories, but the way that Wanda reacts to her own actions, to other people's actions. It's not all over the place because it's obviously deliberate, but in a sense, it kind of is all over the place. Obviously, the writers at Marvel don't just put things all over the place and have characters do things for no reason. Or she could be in full control, like Monica thinks. Monica thinks that it's all Wanda. But obviously, there's a lot more to it, and we will find that out, hopefully, in the next few weeks. And like I said before, I think Dead Vision and other things like Monica bringing up Ultron could be Mephisto placing things, or Nightmare placing things in front of Wanda that creates fear for Nightmare to feed off of, and allowing them to make the reality she's in stronger. So we will have to see. Alright, that's it for this one. Please like and comment below to support the channel, subscribe for future content, and I'll see you in the next one.